All right, welcome back to the channel. It's your boy Fanon, and in this video, we had a big announcement. Devin the Dream Haney will be fighting Ryan Garcia on April 20th in Vegas, which is absolutely shocking considering what Devin Haney and Devin Haney fans have been saying about Ryan Garcia and Gervonta Davis and what Devin Haney is all about. It almost smacks of massive hypocrisy. And we're going to talk about that in this video. All right, welcome back to the channel. It's your boy Fanon, and in this video, we're going to be in the 140-pound division, where the WBC champion, Devin Haney, has sidestepped a mandatory named Sandor Martin to fight Ryan Garcia, who has no belt, was called by Devin Haney an exhibition fighter and a YouTube fighter when he fought Gervonta Davis. He's going to do this after, for the second time, not fighting a mandatory to fight easier competition, assumedly. But before I get into the details, let me welcome you back to the channel. If you are new to the channel, please accept my invitation to hit the subscribe button, hit the bell icon so you can be notified when we release more videos. And if you're a longtime subscriber and supporter of the channel, thank you so much for your continued support. It really means a lot. So, not a lot of people talking about this. I wonder why. Was on my live stream. Many of you are on my live stream that come watch this video when it was announced that Devin Haney, and this is announced by Ryan Garcia, that the fight between Devin Haney and Ryan Garcia is done. Now, maybe there's a chance that it is not, but Ryan Garcia said it. Dan Rayfield reported it. Looks like it's a done deal. I don't hear anybody denying it. Looks like it's a done deal. Now, under normal circumstances, I would say, cool. We get to see a good fighter in Devin Haney fight a good fighter in Ryan Garcia in April. A good fight has been made, but we can't do that here. And the reason that we can't do that here is because, according to Devin Haney fans, and many of the people who've come to my comment section on a regular basis saying all kinds of things about Gervonta Davis and what Gervonta Davis doesn't do, if what you're saying is true, that Gervonta Davis cherry-picked Ryan Garcia, and Gervonta Davis did it for money, and that he doesn't fight any of the best fighters, then how is it okay for Devin Haney to fight the same guy, not fight his mandatory, Sandor Martin, fight the same guy who didn't look good in his last fight and got knocked out by Gervonta Davis the fight before that, but it's okay for Devin to fight him? See, this will not be the first time that this took place. And this is the problem with the Devin Haney brand. The Devin Haney brand is riddled with hypocrisy, where it is okay for him to do one thing, but for somebody else not to be able to do the exact same thing. And again, this is not the first time that this has happened. When Gervonta Davis fought Yuriorkis Gamboa for the WBA World Championship back in 2019, Gervonta Davis fought an old man that should have been knocked out. He should have knocked him out sooner, not the 11th round or whenever it ended. He should have knocked him out. He was trash. We knew he's not been good since he was at 126 pounds or wherever it was that he originally won his title. But then Devin fights Yuriorkis Gamboa, defending his WBC world title. Then Yuriorkis Gamboa is a former world champion, and it is a really good fight for Devin Haney. It proves that Devin Haney has beaten world champions. That's the first instant. The second instant is a fight between Teofimo Lopez and George Kambosos. When Teofimo Lopez was going to fight George Kambosos, that fight was garbage. Teofimo Lopez shouldn't be fighting George Kambosos because George Kambosos isn't a good fighter, even though George Kambosos was his mandatory. But when Devin fights George Kambosos is suddenly the best welterweight, the number 2 or the number 1 lightweight, in all of boxing. Amazing transformation from the time that Teofimo Lopez is going to fight him to when Devin fights him. Amazing transition. Now we have another amazing transition, the third one, where Ryan Garcia was nothing but an exhibition fight and a waste of time. Let me go to the third because Ryan's actually the fourth. Because there was a fight proposed between Gervonta Davis, a fight that took place between Gervonta Davis and Mario Barrios, which, despite Mario Barrios being the WBA world champion at 140, which was a secondary title at the time to Josh Taylor's, who was undisputed, I do believe at the time, which would make Mario Barrios the number 2 guy in the 140-pound division because he was the only other person to hold a title other than Josh Taylor, who held all of the rest of them. So if you look at the number of titles that people hold, the least Mario Barrios should have been considered was number 2. But he wasn't any good at all. He was just a setup for Gervonta Davis, a way to duck Devin Haney, a way to duck everyone, to duck his mandatory. By the way, the Devin Haney fans claimed that Gervonta Davis was his mandatory, even though he never was that. But regardless, that's 3. Number 4 is now Ryan Garcia, who Gervonta Davis beat up, embarrassed, stopped in front of a lot of people for a lot of money. But when Gervonta Davis did it, people wanted Devin to get the Gervonta Davis fight, said that Ryan Garcia doesn't count because Ryan Garcia is not any good. He's green. He isn't good. He holds his chin up. He is a really just an underwear model on Instagram. That's what Ryan Garcia is. So how are you going to explain Devin Haney, who you have consistently criticized people for not fighting when he was there mandatory, when he wasn't even there mandatory? But now you, for the second time, are going to have to justify Devin Haney not fighting his mandatory and going to fight somebody else that you have discredited. So, for example, or to be specific, didn't fight Shakur Stevenson at 135 for his mandatory because he asked for too much money. But that was his mandatory. He goes to fight Regis Prograis. That's the mandatory he didn't fight. Now, Sandor Martin is his mandatory. And he's going to go fight, according to these reports, Ryan Garcia, again, who is not his mandatory. And Ryan Garcia did not beat Mikey Garcia. Sandor Martin, last time I checked, either he beat him or he dang near beat him, something like that. I think he actually beat him. Many people say that Sandor Martin beat Teofimo Lopez. Now, I'm going to give you a little hint about what people are going to say to justify this. I myself wouldn't have a problem with it if there wasn't so much mud being slung by that brand on everybody else for doing the same thing that they're doing. That's called hypocrisy. You get to do what you want to do, but nobody else can do what you get to do. For example, let's take the idea of fighting for legacy versus fighting for money. When I am asked, can Gervonta Davis fight for anybody that he wants? The answer is no. Can Terrence Crawford fight anybody he wants? The answer is yes. And why? Because Terrence is at the end of his career and he's accomplished all these things. So since he earned it, hey man, he doesn't have to fight Gervonta and he can do this, right? But Gervonta needs to fight Devin. He needs to fight whoever it is because he's not accomplished enough. It's not okay for Gervonta to fight for money exclusively. He has to fight for legacy primarily. And if the money comes along, then fine. What do you call this fight with Gervonta Davis? And what do you call this fight between Ryan Garcia and Devin Haney? Is it legacy? There's no belts on the line. Is it money? It can only be money. And does this money override his mandatory, which is Sandor Martin, or another unification fight, which could be Subriel Matias, who is on the same network as him? Now, as you know, people are going to kind of come up with a concocted argument to justify this. And I guarantee you I know what it is. Everybody else ducked Devin. Subriel Matias ducked him. Teofimo Lopez already rejected the fight. He's fighting somebody else, so he didn't have a choice. Sandor Martin outpriced himself. And there's going to be a bunch of justifications for this. Without a doubt. It's only going to be how long before you come up with it, and how good will it be? It's not going to be good. It's no way to defend it based off what you said. You all said, with the exception of just saying, yeah, we were riding Tank and we got a double standard for Tank than we got for Devin. We got a double standard for everybody that is not Devin, because that's what's going on with him. But this fight, hey man, could be a good fight. I don't know. I would favor Devin Haney to win the fight against Ryan Garcia, because Devin's a very good fighter. And Ryan Garcia is a good fighter, but hey, man, he is what he is. Not going to argue that he's not the absolute best in those divisions, because I don't think he is. He's a dangerous fighter that most definitely can clip you and hurt you, and he's a world-class fighter. He's far from a YouTuber. He's far from just an Instagram underwear model, or whatever you guys want to rephrase him as, want to call him when it's time to dog Tank. But okay, I can't wait to see how this plays out in these conversations for the next 2 months, because they're going into training camp right away for this, because it's April. Right now, it's February 9th, April 20th. What is that? 10 weeks away, roughly 10 weeks away. But anyway, that's my take on the matter. You let a little more than 10 weeks away. 10 and a half weeks. But anyway, that's my take. You let me know what you think in the comment section. And with that, I'm out. Deuces.